नमो भगवते वा ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Chapter 18, Canto 1, Text 1. Sutta Uvacha Yo vei dronyaştra viplusto namatur udare mritah अनुगृहात् भगवतः कृष्णयाद्भूत कर्मणः.
Hare Krishna. Can you scroll up, please? Thank you. Sri Suta Goswami said, due to the mercy of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who acts wonderfully, Maharaj Parikshit, though struck by the weapons of the son of Drona in his mother's womb, could not be burned.
Text 2. ब्रह्मकोपोतिथद्यस्तु तक्षकात् प्राणविप्लवात् न समूमोहोरु भयात् भगवत्याप्यतस्यः.
Furthermore, Maharaj Parikshit was always consciously surrendered to the personality of Godhead, and therefore he was neither afraid nor overwhelmed by fear due to a snake bird which was to bite him because of the fury of a Brahmana boy.
Text 3. उत्सृज्य सर्वतः संगम विज्ञाताजित संस्थितिः वयासकेर्जहो शिष्यो गंगायां स्वं कलेवरम्.
Furthermore, after leaving all his associates, the king surrendered himself as a disciple to the son of Vyasa, Sukdev Goswami, and thus he was able to understand the actual position of the personality of Godhead, and at last gave up his material body on the bank of the Ganges.
Text 4. नतोमश्लोके वार्तानां जुसतां तत्कथामृतं शयात् सम्भ्रमोऽन्तकालेऽपि स्मरतां तत्पदाम्बुजम्.
This was so because those who have dedicated their lives to the transcendental topics of the personality of Godhead, of whom the Vedic hymns sing, and who are constantly engaged in remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, do not run the risk of having misconceptions even at the last moment of their lives.
Text 5. तावत् कलेर्न प्रभवेत् प्रविष्टोऽपि ह सर्वतः यावदिशो महान् उर्व्याम् आभिमन्येव एकरा.
As long as the great, powerful son of Abhimanyu remains the emperor of the world, there is no chance that the personality of Kali will flourish.
Text 6. यस्मेन हानेय यार्ह्येव भगवान् उत्ससर्जगाम् तदेव हानुवृतो स्वः साव अधर्म प्रभवा कलिः.
The very day and moment the personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, left this earth, the personality of Kali, who promotes all kinds of religious activities, came into the world.
Will you scroll up, please, Mataji? Will you scroll down a little bit, please?
No, it's text 7.
Go to text 7.
Text 7, please.
Hare Krishna, what text are we on?
7.
We don't text 7. We need to recite 7.
7. Okay, so I'm so sorry.
It's okay. नानुद्वेष्टे कलिं सम्राट् सारंग इव सारभू कुशलान्यसु सिद्धयन्ते नेतराणि कृतानि यत्.
Maharaj Parikshit was a realist, like the bees who only accept the essence of a flower. He knew perfectly well that in this age of Kali, auspicious things produce good effects immediately, whereas inauspicious acts must be actually performed to render effects. So he was never envious of the personality of Kali.
Text 8. किं नु बालेषु शूरेण कलिनाधीरभीरुना अप्रामतप्रमतेषु यो वृको नृषु वर्तते.
Maharaj Parikshit considered that less intelligent men might find the personality of Kali to be very powerful, but that those who are self-controlled would have nothing to fear. The king was powerful like a tiger and took care for the foolish, careless persons.
Text 9. उपवर्णितम् एतद्वा पुण्यं पारीक्षितं मया वासुदेवकथोपेतम् आख्यानं यद् अप्रचित्त.
O sages, as you did ask me, now I have described almost everything regarding the narrations about Lord Krishna in connection with the history of the pious Maharaj Parikshit.
Text 10. यायाः कथा भगवत कथानीयोरु कर्मण गुणकर्माश्रया पुंभिः संसेव्यास्ता बुभुषुः.
Those who are desirous of achieving complete perfection in life must submissively hear all topics that are connected with the transcendental activities and qualities of the personality of Godhead, who acts wonderfully.
Text 11. ऋष्य उवाचुः सुतजीव समासौम्य शाश्वतीर्विशदं यशः यस्त्वां संशसि कृष्णस्य मत्यानाम् अमृतां हिनः.
The good sages said, O grave Sutta Goswami, may you live many years and have eternal fame, for you are speaking very nicely about the activities of Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. This is just like nectar for mortal beings like us.
Text 12. कर्माण्यस्मिन् अनाश्वासे धूमधूम्रात्मनां भवान् आपयायति गोविन्द पादपद्मास्वसवं मधु.
We have just begun the performance of this fruitive activity, a sacrificial fire, without certainty of its results, due to the many imperfections in our action. Our bodies have become black from the smoke, but we are factually pleased by the nectar of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, Govinda, which you are distributing.
Text 13. तुलयाम लवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गीसङ्गस्य मर्त्यानां किम् उताशिषः.
The value of a moment's association with the devotee of the Lord cannot even be compared to the attainment of heavenly planets or liberation from matter. And what to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which are for those who are meant for death.
Text 14. को नाम कृपयेद् रसवेत् कथायां महात्मामेकान्तपरायणस्य नान्तं गुणानाम् अगुणस्य जग्मुर् योगेश्वर ये भावपद्ममुखया.
Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, Govinda, is the exclusive shelter for all living beings, and his transcendental attributes cannot even be measured by such masters of mystic powers as Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Can anyone who is expert in relishing nectar rasa, ever be fully satiated by hearing topics about him.
Text 15. तन्नो भवान् वै भगवत् प्रधानो महातमैकान्तपरायणस्य हरेरुदरां चरितां विशुद्धां शुश्रूषतां नो वितनोतु विद्वान्.
O Sutta Goswami, you are a learned and pure devotee of the Lord, because the personality of Godhead is your chief object of service. Therefore, please describe to us the pastimes of the Lord, which are above all material conception, for we are anxious to receive such messages.
Text 16. सवै भागवत परीक्षित पवार्गाख्यम् अदभ्रबुद्धि ज्ञानेन वैयासखिशाब्दितेन वेजे खगेन्द्र ध्वजपादमूलम्.
O Sutta Goswami, please describe those topics of the Lord by which Maharaj Parikshit, whose intelligence was fixed on liberation, attained the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of Garuda, the king of birds. Those topics were vibrated by the sons of Vyasa, Srila Sukadev.
Text 17. तन्न परं पुण्यमसामृतार्थम् आख्यानमत्याभूतयोगनिष्ठम् आख्याह्यनन्ता चरितोपपानां परीक्षितं भागवतभिरामम्.
Thus please narrate to us the narrations of the unlimited, for they are purifying and supreme. They were spoken to Maharaj Parikshit, and they are very dear to the pure devotees, being full of bhakti yoga.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna, and sorry for any mistakes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Saroj Mataji and Sumadhura Radhika Mataji, for the beautiful recitations. Really beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm Sriji Kishori Devidasi, and Manu Prabhu is supposed to facilitate the class tonight, but so far he hasn't joined, and I hope he will join very soon. So in the meantime, I can recite the Mangalacharan prayer while waiting for Manu Prabhu to join. So please bear with him, and I'm sure he'll join soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Visakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Sri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gora Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees. I'm just going to check to see if Manu Prabhu has joined us. For joining, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees. So today we are reciting verse number 3 and 4 of chapter 18, Canto 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Let me share my screen. उत्सृज्य सर्वतः संगम विज्ञाता जित संस्थितिः वैयासकेर्जाहु शिष्यो गंगायां स्वयं कलेवरम्. Utsarja, after leaving aside, sarvatah, all around, sangam, association, vignata, being understood, ajita, one who is never conquered, the personality of Godhead, samasthitiha, actual position, vayasakhe, unto the son of Vyas. Jaho gave up Sishya as a disciple, Gangayam, on the bank of the Ganges, Swayam, his own Kalevaram, material body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Furthermore, after leaving all his associates, the king surrendered himself as a disciple to the son of Vyas, Sukadev Goswami, and thus he was able to understand the actual position of the personality of Godhead, and at last gave up his material body on the bank of the Ganges. Sorry. The word Ajita is significant here. The personality of God as Sri Krishna is known as Ajita, or unconquerable, and he is so in every respect.
Prabhuji, would you
Sorry
like me
about
to
that.
read for you in the time?
No, I'll read it, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you so much. The word Ajita is significant here. The person or unconquerable, and he is so in every respect. No one can know his actual position. He is unconquerable by knowledge also. We have heard about his dham or place eternal Goloka Vrindavan. But there are many scholars who interpret this abode in different ways. But by the grace of a spiritual master like Sukadev Goswami, unto whom the king gave himself up as a most humble disciple, one is able to understand the actual position of the Lord, his eternal abode, and his transcendental paraphernalia in that dham. Knowing the transcendental position of the Lord and the transcendental method by which one can approach that transcendental dham, the king was confident about his ultimate destination. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Param Dashtva Nivartate, one can give up all connection with material attachment when one is able to see the Param, or the superior quality of things. From Bhagavad Gita, we understand the quality of the Lord's energy that is superior to the material quality of energy, and with the grace of a bona fide preacher master like Sukdev Goswami, it is quite possible to know everything of the superior energy of the Lord, by which the Lord manifests his eternal name, quality, pastimes, paraphernalia, and variegatedness. Unless one thoroughly understands the superior or eternal energy of the Lord, it is not possible to leave the material energy. However, one may theoretically speculate on the true nature of the absolute truth. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Maharaj Parikshit was able to receive the mercy of such a personality as Sukadev Goswami, and thus he was able to know the actual position of the unconquerable Lord. It is very difficult to find the Lord from Vedic literatures, but it is very easy to know him by the mercy of a liberated devotee like Sukadev Goswami. Next verse number 4. Nottama Nottamashlokavartanam Juchatam Tatkatamritam Shyatasambramo Natkale Api Smartam Tatpadambujam. Na never Uttama Shloka, the personality of Godhead of whom the Vedic hymn sings. Vartanam, of those who live on them. Jushtam, of those who are engaged in. Tat, his Katha Amritam, transcendental topics about him. Shat, it so happens. Sambhramaha, misconception. Anta, at the end. Kale, in time. Api, also. Smartam, remembering. Tat, his Padam Bhujam, lotus feet. Translation: This was so because those who have dedicated their lives to the transcendental topics of the personality of Godhead, of whom the Vedic hymn sings, who are constantly engaged in remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, do not run the risk of having misconceptions even at the last moment of their life. Purport: The highest perfection of life is attained by remembering transcendental nature of the Lord at the last moment of one's life. This perfection of life is made possible by one who has learned the actual transcendental nature of the Lord from the Vedic hymn sung by liberated souls like Sukadev Goswami, someone in the line of disciplic succession. There is no gain in hearing the Vedic hymns from some mental speculator. When the same is heard from an actual self-realized soul and is properly understood by service and submission, everything becomes transparently clear. Thus, a submissive disciple is able to live transcendently and continue to the end of life. By scientific adaptation, one is able to remember the Lord even at the end of life, when the power of remembrance is slackened due to derangement of bodily membranes. For a common man, it is very difficult to remember things as they are at the time of death, but by the grace of the Lord and his bona fide devotees, his spiritual masters, one can get this opportunity without difficulty. And if it was done in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. Okay. Om Jnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So this is an ongoing narration of the life and precepts of Parikshit Maharaj and how he has surrendered himself to Sukadeva Goswami. We all understand his we all understand his transcendental position. Generally, if the death is announced to a common person, he would run to a hospital so that he can cure his issues and problems, and he can try to live a little more longer. So this is the activity of the people who are ignorant to the spiritual reality, those who have no understanding that there is a life beyond the present death that they are going to experience. Hence, they are somehow or the other trying to mitigate the misery of death. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi. One of the miseries is death. So, as lifelong a living entity wants to get rid of miseries, but miseries fall upon him nevertheless. Similarly, they were trying to fight out death, but death is as sure as death. Death is something that would definitely knock every door, and one has to leave. But for a commoner, it's a very, very difficult situation. But for a transcendentalist, it is an opportunity to 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 give oneself a chance of transformation from material to completely spiritual. And this is where Parikshit Maharaj is. In his womb, when he saw beautiful form of the four-armed Vishnu form, he felt that bliss. And then after, he was looking for that beautiful form of the Lord, and therefore his name was Parikshit. He was trying to figure out, he was trying to see, but where that beautiful form of the Lord. He is the son of Abhimanyu, grandson of Arjun, so his lineage is directly into Shri Krishna by intelligence and by birth. And it is but obvious that from very childhood he has heard about Krishna and all his transcendental qualities and all his transcendental pastimes from his mother. After his relationship with his mother is very unique and very, very deep, because after he has heard this entire Srimad Bhagavatam, he then narrated Brihad Bhagavatam to his own mother, which is the story of Gopkumar and so on. So we can understand there was a lot of exchange and communication between Uttara and Parikshit. So here it is stated that because he surrendered into a transcendental personality like Sukadeva Goswami, he could understand the reality beyond this world. It is actually impossible, according to Vedic scriptures, it is just impossible to see beyond this material world with our own physical senses or our own mental intelligence, mental speculations, whatever scientists want to try. It is just impossible. Why? Because this world is full of ignorance that there is a reality beyond the matter. They can never prove the existence of soul by their so-called scientific instruments, which is 1 by 10,000 part of the tip of the hair. They can never prove it. Therefore, they do not want to believe it. And the spiritual reality, Krishna says that in this material world, because there is presence of sun, for him it is an artificial light. By the sun, then everything else is illuminated. Because of the presence of sun, there is light, because of which we are able to see, or all the living entities are able to see. And that same light is seen everywhere, whatever is throwing light. But basically, the stars, the moon, the jewels, the fire, everything's driving that light from sun. But the sun is deriving its own light from Brahman Jyoti, which is the expansion of Krishna's personal form, which is reflected from Krishna's body. So, but this transcendental reality is unknown, that where is this light coming from? Therefore, Krishna declares that this is a dark world, and my own dham is self-illuminated. It does not need artificial sources of light. They are themselves self-illuminating. Krishna has expressed that in chapter 15. If you look at very first verse of chapter 15, Krishna has declared that urdhamulam adha shakham, urdhamulam adha shakham, ashattam prahur abhyam. He's saying that this world is a reflection of the spiritual reality, and in that reflection you can see there's a tree, and he has chosen to compare or give analogy of a banyan tree. It is very difficult to catch the beginning and end of a banyan tree. If you see a very large, huge banyan tree, there are roots, there are branches going into the soil of earth at various parts and angles, and you don't really know where this tree is starting, where it's ending. It's huge. So Krishna has explained that this material world is nothing but a reflection of the original spiritual world. And in this analogy of banyan tree, he's explained that all the branches are like Vedic hymns. The whole universe is expanded with so many branches, which are like planetary systems. What are the fruits of this tree? The fruits of this tree is religiosity, dharma, economic development, artha, kama, desires, fruits, fulfillment of desires, and moksha, mukti, mukti from the three modes of material nature, mukti from the material distress. And this is what this tree represents. And this tree can only be seen against a reservoir of water, because you can't see a tree upside down. Hence, it is reflection. The tree is a reflection. Material world is only a reflection of the tree in the spiritual world. So whatever is seen in this material world exists in reality also in this spiritual world. This is what Krishna has given very clearly in chapter 15. So, but the issue is that at the point of reflection, where the reflection starts, let's say this is the border of the bank and the reflection is starting, and there are roots, and from then you can see the branches, and then you can see the fruits at the bottom of the plant. So there is a reality which is on the other side, in between that reality. So this is 180 degree this side, there's another 180 degree on the other side. And so there is this Brahman effulgence that is manifested at 180 degree. And this Brahman effulgence, some of the transcendentalists believe to be the eternal reality and the ultimate absolute reality, whereas this is not the fact, because Krishna is pointing out that beyond that Brahman Jyoti is my own dham. And whatever exists in this world, there is existence of relationships in this world. There's existence of form of living beings in this world. Krishna is saying that it is not that because you have a man-like or woman-like form, and therefore in the spiritual world everybody have a therefore in the spiritual world they may have a form like us. So basically what Krishna is pointing out, that because I have a form which is in which image you are all formed. So it's not the other way around, because living entity or Mayavadi philosophers, they are thinking because we have a form, therefore we imagine that Brahman has a form as well. They think like this, that because we imagine, it's called anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism. They say that because the absolute truth is impersonal, right? They believe in this Brahman Jyoti. Because we are persons, we also imagine the absolute truth is a person. Krishna is saying that's not true, because God is a person. Therefore, in the reflection of this world, we also are formed in that image of God. That is the truth, and then all the relationship that exist in this reflection, which is a perverted reflection, which are distorted relationships. There is no complete fulfillment. All those relationships exist in absolute nature, in complete fulfillment. So once somebody has achieved liberation, beyond that point, then the devotion starts. And that devotion with God, one has relationships in so many rasas with the Lord. All that what exists here can be experienced, but in absolute sense, in purity. So then there's a discussion about detachment, in the sense that a transcendentalist would not feel any attachment when they're leaving the body. They will not feel, they will feel, they will be able to remember the lotus feet of the Lord. They do not risk of having misconceptions, any kind of misconceptions, because they have dedicated lives to transcendental topics of the personality of Godhead. So this is the process of devotional service. If one is able to give oral reception to the words emanating from devotees of the Lord, like Sukadeva Goswami, then they'll be able to see this absolute reality, in which they will be able to see that there is something that exists beyond this material world, beyond this temporary existence. And they will be able to get the vision of that spiritual world, which Krishna has described, Natat bhashyate surya na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dhamam paramam mamam. So that supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun or the moon or the fire. Those who reach it, they never return to this material world. They will never return to this material world. But through polluted intelligence, one is completely subjected to the modes of material nature. And in that conditional state of material existence, which is like a dreaming state, it's like a dream. For example, if you're sleeping in the night and you see a dream, it could be 1 hour dream, 15 minutes dream, 20 minutes dream. In that dream, one can see things which are experienced as reality. A tiger is coming behind him. One is running for his life and suddenly he's crying, "Oh, tiger!" And then wakes up. As soon as he wakes up, immediately he realizes it was a dream. But whilst he was in that dream state, he was realizing that it was a reality. Similarly, Shastra explains that a living being, when they're living this life, it is like a dream, but a bit a longer dream. Could be 70 years, 80 years, 90 years. As soon as they leave that particular body, that particular dream is over. And then for a materialistic, according to their conception of mind and consciousness, they are again grouped around the senses and given a body. They go into a womb and then they take birth from a womb, and then they start treat those as mother and father, whether they are human beings or animal species or whatever they are. That's how the game goes on. But for a transcendentalist, as soon as they leave the body, the dream state of the material world actually gets over for them for a long time before. Their natural consciousness get awakened in the heart. That natural consciousness is the position of pure intelligence. Position of pure intelligence. What is that pure intelligence? Pure intelligence is not contaminated by the modes of nature. Therefore, this pure intelligence is that I do not want to enjoy separate from Krishna. I actually, it is not negative, it is positive. I would like to give enjoyment to Krishna because he is the enjoyer and I am to be enjoyed. He is the Purusha, I am Prakriti. He is the Parashakti and I Aparashakti. And I am Para. Aparayamitastvanyam. Aparayamitastvanyam. What is that shloka? Should Yayada Dharyate Jagat. Prakritim Vidhim Me Param. Aparayam itastvanyam prakritim vidhim me param. Jiva Bhuta. I can't remember right now. Okay, Yedam Dharyate Jagat. So this living entity who is trying to enjoy this inferior energy of Krishna. Aparayam itastvanyam prakritim vidhim me param. Prakriti. He's actually struggling here. He cannot enjoy this material nature. It's been produced. It is given to him artificially because he wanted to enjoy separate from Krishna. He saw at the inferior energy of Krishna and he felt, oh, I can perhaps dominate that energy of Krishna. I can be an enjoyer where I can. Not exactly, but at that point in time, he didn't think exactly like Krishna. But he thought that I can enjoy this, that feeling of becoming Purusha. But then that position is already taken in the spiritual world of Purusha. So then, without having that qualification of Purusha, he wants to become Purusha. Therefore, he sent to this material world, which is Krishna has kindly created, and Krishna is kindly following and providing for and maintaining everything, and is waiting that once this dream state is over, how much I want them to come back and be with me again. So this is what this verse is saying, that who have dedicated their lives. So how do I get out of this dream state now? So the only way to get out of this dream state is one, dedicate their life to the transcendental topics of the personality of Godhead. Otherwise, they will live in a reflection. However much you want to decorate the reflection, it will never be decorating the real. But if somebody decorates the real, in the reflection, automatically one would see the decoration. Because the real is decorated, therefore reflection is decorated. Srila Prabhupada has given this analogy to explain that if we serve Krishna with love and devotion, if we decorate Krishna, because he's the reality, he's the absolute truth, and his devotees, and his pastimes, and his literature, all of them is absolute. It's not a reflection, it's real. That real can be accessed whilst we are sitting in this reflection. Whilst we are in the reflection, we can still access the reality. And the more we are able to access the reality, the percentage of the illusion will drop and the percentage of reality will increase. And at some point in time, we can reach to the point of anabhilashita shunyam jnana karma anavritam. No material desires, no desires. Material desires means no desire to enjoy separate from Krishna. At that point of time, devotee would see everything can be utilized for Krishna's pleasure. All the material elements. A jnani would see that I cannot enjoy this material energy, hence I want liberation. But a devotee will see that everything can be utilized for Krishna. I don't want to use it, but it can be utilized for Krishna. Hence, he sees everything in relationship with Krishna. And therefore, even though he is in reflection, that within that reflection, he can live in the real dimension or the absolute dimension of Krishna consciousness. So once you achieve this complete Krishna consciousness and it's awakened in the heart, there is no reflection anymore. It's complete reality. For example, in the pastimes of Raghunath Das Goswami, he was sustaining his life with one leaf of buttermilk every single day. One day he got indigestion, and Sanatan Goswami, who was that time residing in Vrindavan, and Raghunath Das Goswami was residing in Radhakund. So Sanatan Goswami sent this Vaidyaraj to see, out of concern, what has happened to Raghunath Das Goswami. So Vaidyaraj comes and he tests the pulse and he realizes, oh, Raghunath Das Goswami has indigestion. And everybody was wondering, how can Goswami Maharaj have indigestion? He's taking a little bit of buttermilk every day. He lies down for some time, and an hour or two, he doesn't sleep, he's transcendental. So then later on, Raghunath Das Goswami revealed that in his meditative state, he's actually Rati Manjari in the spiritual world, and his services are serving Radharani. So Radharani served kheer to Lord, and a lot of kheer was remaining as prasadam, and Rati Manjari drank all that kheer. But the body, the deha in which Raghunath Das Goswami is sitting is old deha, material elements, but he has a siddha deha. He has this transcendental body in which he is able to participate in the absolute reality, and then he gets this indigestion. This is one of the examples. There are many examples that can be picked up that devotees, when they become complete or absolute in the Krishna consciousness, their dream state and their real state is the same. Somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, I read this in Shivram Maharaj's book, which is here. It's called Shri Vilap Kusumanjali. Beautiful book. If you can get your hands on it, please read it. In there, it is said that one time a disciple asked Srila Prabhupada, you slept well. And Srila Prabhupada said, you fool, I never sleep. Because whilst somebody can see them sleeping, they're actually not sleeping. They're participating in the transcendental realm. There's a beautiful pastime of Srimati Radharani in the spiritual world, and this is also mentioned in this beautiful book. Because it was Radhashtami, I thought maybe I can quickly go through that pastime. Srimati Radharani saw a dream, and he saw a very mysterious dream. This dream is narrated by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the prayers called as Swapna Vilasa Mritashtaka. So she said to Krishna, I just had a beautiful dream. And Krishna said, okay, what was that dream about? Please share your dream. And Radharani said, I saw a river, shore like that of Yamuna, and I saw that there were dancers similar to that of Vrindavan. But these dancers were like playing mridangas and instruments, which our gopis do. So Krishna says, oh really? How mysterious, how festive. Then what did you see? And then Radharani says, then I saw a jewel amongst Brahmanas. He was intoxicated by ecstasy. He was chanting his own names, and he was tossing. He was so doing toss the universe into an ocean of pure love. He was giving this ecstasy to everybody. Sometimes he was calling out Krishna, Krishna, and other times he was sighing and saying, "Oh Radha, where are you?" So then he will fall to the ground and roll on the ground, and he'll lose all his composure. And sometimes he'll dance in ecstasy with a lot of his associates. So, like that, she was describing her dream. And then she said that I was very bewildered. I was very bewildered because as I gazed at him, I couldn't figure out who is he. I felt as if I was he. And then I felt you were he. Then I was completely lost whether he was you or I was him. So Radharani was explaining like this. Then Krishna said to Radharani, Radhe, why are you bewildered by this Brahmin? Why are you getting surprised by the dream of this Brahmin? I have shown you many other incarnations in the past, like Narayan, all my forms, and you have never been bewildered with all of them. And then Radha was quiet, and then immediately the Kaustubh jewel of Krishna, he understood the intention of Krishna. And as they were talking, the divine jewel started to display before them the same pastimes and persons what Radharani had seen in her dream. So when Radharani saw the complete dream, again, in her conscious state, she said, oh, now I understand. You are that Brahman. And it's just not you are that Brahman, I'm also that Brahman. And she got very excited. And then she said that now I can see this is a future display of your pastime where you will advent as a Brahman. And then she said that, oh, how amazing it will be. You and I will become one. And Krishna said, yes, that is my going to be my pastimes. That I will take your mood and we both together will appear in the material world. And then the normal people will be able to taste the mallows and relationships that you and I share in this Golok Vrindavan Dham. And then they will be inundated by love of God. So that way, Radharani saw the dream of Lord Chaitanya's advent into this material world. So her dream and the reality were the same. So similarly, in absolute world, the dream state and the reality state is same. So is with the devotees who are transcendental, who has already achieved the dormant, uh, who has already achieved the awakened consciousness, fully blossomed consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Their state of dream and reality is same, but for conditioned living soul, they are stuck in this material world, and for them to come out of this reflection into the reality, this reflection is also a reality, but it is a temporary reality. It lasts so long. There's an impact of time on this reality. Therefore, it is referred as reflection by Krishna, and also reflection because there is a reality of which it is a reflection. So for a general conditioned soul, if they can hear, if they can follow the Navada Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, etc., then they can come to the platform of absolute reality, which is nothing but Krishna consciousness. That means that he would be able to give complete pleasure to the senses of Krishna. That will be the consciousness. So I'll stop here. We have few minutes. If there are any comments or any questions, we can take that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My Dhanvat Pranam. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I don't have a question, Prabhuji, but I just have a reflection, Prabhuji, because I loved your class, Prabhuji. It was so it was it was just so potent and everything was just so clear, Prabhuji. So first of all, thank you for that, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji just made me think that how pious everybody was that in the past, that they could be in on earth or in the material body, but they could still be at the transcendental platform, where in the transcendental place they were eating kheer.
Mhm.
It's just I know I shouldn't use these words, but I just feel like um, how potent and pious was everybody in the past. I just can't imagine, Prabhuji, because it's even I'm so selfish at times, Prabhuji, and it just made me think that how different could everybody was in the past. It just makes me wonder, Prabhuji.
Mm. Thank you for your beautiful realization. So there are devotees who are fallible, and living entities who are fallible, and living entities who are infallible. Infallible and fallible. So there, some of the devotees, they are eternal partial associates of Krishna, and when Krishna descends, then they also descend. So, for example, all the devotees that are in our parampara, who are our Goswamis and Acharyas, they are eternal associates of Lord Chaitanya or Lord Krishna. Like Raghunath Das Goswami is Rati Manjari, Rup Goswami is Rupa Manjari, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is Vinoda Manjari. So, they when they have descended, they have done a great favor to the uh, entire universe in which we exist, because through them we are able to see the most secret part of the spiritual world, their emotions, their Lord Chaitanya has descended and he has revealed such emotions in Gambhira, in his Adi Lila, in his Anta Lila, where Radharani is feeling those ecstasies and separations and emotions, and we would never get insight into any of that through any parampara. So this Gaudiya Madhav parampara is really, really very, very unique in that sense. And the devotees who have come and exhibited their pastimes here are also very unique. Sarup Damodar is, I think, Lalita Devi, and Ramanand Rai is Vishakha, and so on and so forth. So they're very, very fortunate because we had Srila Prabhupada, who has given us this beautiful Krishna consciousness process. One time, Srila Prabhupada was asked that, Prabhupada, what is your eternal identity? Prabhupada said, if you know, you will faint. So yes, we are very fortunate.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my humble obeisance unto you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the very wonderful, insightful class, as always. Thank you for that. I just want to ask a silly question actually. In the spiritual world, there is no birth, death, old age, and disease.
Hmm.
So, how come there is indigestion? It's not a disease, but still, it's like a little bit of suffering. So, I
Nice,
was
nice. And a very, very good question, Mataji.
thank you.
So in the spiritual world, all the negative emotions also exist. Fear is there, anxiety, but everything is in relationship with Krishna. Therefore, it is spiritual. For example, Radharani is having this anxiety of meeting Krishna, and then she's very fearful that Jatila, Kutila, her sister-in-law, mother-in-law, if they see, then what will happen? All these negative emotions. and people sleep, and even though the time is not there, but Radharani sleeps in the night. We know the entire day, how they spend the day and night. They get indigestion also. They get all kinds of things. But it is as much as here it is happening to our material body, and it is bringing us misery. It actually, those emotions, they play a role in increasing the happiness and the bliss in the Leela with Krishna. I do not have an example of how indigestion can help. I don't know. Uh, but the examples I just gave are negative emotions, and they actually increase the ecstasy uh, of relationship with Krishna. Um, so, in the spiritual world, what Raghunath Das Goswami experienced was he was in the material body, hence indigestion was experienced. But he had so much of kheer in the spiritual realm. I don't know if that causes indigestion in the spiritual world or not.
That's nice, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Even when Krishna gets a headache, even that one, I think, oh, how did Krishna
Yeah,
get
it's his transcendental pastime to glorify the love of gopis. How otherwise can he demonstrate that gopis are above all the fears of any karmic reactions? Mostly devotees, they want to eat prashadam because non-prashadam will like karmic reaction. Of course, the infection has to be removed because we're in conditioned state. But gopis, they were not fearful of any karmic reaction. It's okay, yeah, you take the kind of the raj from our feet and rub it on the head of Krishna. If that is the only remedy, that will take away his headache. But then, you see, everybody else refused. Everybody refused. Oh, why are you saying? Do we need to go to hell? They were not afraid of going anywhere. So devotees, actually, they are happy in Krishna's service, whether they are thrown in the hell, they are thrown in heaven, they are thrown in planet Earth, they are taken into Vaikuntha planet, wherever. They will be satisfied because they will be 100% united in the will with Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Excellent. Hare Krishna.
Okay, I think we'll stop here now. Thank you very much for your wonderful association. One chakra tarubhyas chakrapasan.
Sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Thank you
Prabhuji.
very much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna. Thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.